afternoon, everyone. I'm Robyn Wonnell. Thanks again for joining us, or joining me, in our What to Do with the Money series. We're getting towards the end. Today we're going to discuss seller financing or an installment sale. There are several types of installment sales, but this one has to do with the seller carryback. It's been around a long time. It's been an excellent tool for many people. It works well on several levels for both the seller and the buyer. The pros are basically you may have a highly appreciated property, but you don't want to manage it anymore, but you still want to get some income from it. You don't want to exchange into something else. You just want to get some kind of income from that property without having to be in charge of the day-to-day management. Okay, so you sell your property, let's say for $5 million. You owe your basis in the property is $2 million. What many people do is they would take a lump sum of that $2 million in cash, and then you can spread the remaining $3 million over the course of an agreed upon time limit with you and the buyer. And that allows you as the seller, who is now the lender, to determine when you're going to pay those capital gains. Let's say you have a 30-year loan and the minimum that it can be paid off is in 10 years. So you can spread out the capital gains taxes over the course of the 10, even possibly the 30 years, although I doubt it would last that long. The loan is more easily assumable, which is good for both the buyer and the seller, especially the buyer, because the buyer may be ready to go into bigger properties with more potential gain. There's several features of this program, but the basic one for the buyer, one of the best things for the buyer, two things, is number one, it's easier to get into than having to qualify through your regular institutional bank. Number two is, many times in order for a buyer to get this particular property, they may have had to go through 3 or 4 purchases and sales before they would qualify on an institutional basis for a property like this. So you can cut off a decade of time in your investment growth goals. So that's something that I think a lot of people overlook, but is truly an asset. Okay, we've got one going right now where the asset has increased in value. One buyer wanted to sell it again, but the sales had to be approved by the lender, which is the previous seller or owner. That went through fine. In fact, they're happier with the new buyers than they were with the old ones. Now the new ones have done so well on this property and others, they want to pay off the loan early. Well, the loan then triggers capital gains if it's paid off early for the original seller. So that's not good. So now they're renegotiating the loan, and they've come up with a new agreement that protects the seller and also protects the buyer. So anyway, there are a lot of things that you can do, a lot of ways that you can work with a contract like this. And the best advice that I can give you would be, you want to make sure that after you understand what you want and what both parties want, that you go through an attorney that's an expert in these contracts. So anyway, I know this is a long one. I could say a whole lot more on these contracts, but suffice it to say that'll get you started. If you have any questions, feel free to call me directly, and I look forward to seeing you on our next video. Thanks. Bye.